Today I'm painting Jimi Hendrix using only black enamel onto a white board. We've got one shot black enamel again today, and the brush I'm using is an extra long haired 2112 from AS Handover. So I'm not overloading the brush for these bits because we're not looking for getting some length out of the brush. And again, we're just using the tip of the brush for these bits. Try and maintain that control. Get some twist into the brush as well to get around those tight little curves. So this is why I like these, particularly for beginners that can draw, because you get used to rolling the brush through your fingers and using different areas of the brush, getting used to the feel of the enamel, and helps you build up some rhythm. So what we'll be doing is, on certain areas of this, we'll be using more pressure than on others. So when we're doing these delicate areas, we're using the tip of the brush with very little pressure. This is always a good exercise, this, in using the marl stick as well. So finding an area where you can place the marl stick. At the moment I've no paint really in this area, but I do have marking out there, so I know where the marl stick is going to go when the paint goes on. And also when you've done it for years, it's just automatic where you put it. But when you're practicing and you're first going, you don't want to be putting it in an area where the paint is. You want to be putting it in an area where there's nothing, so it doesn't get in the way and it doesn't spoil what you've previously done. Again, getting the tip of that brush going and using slightly different parts of that tip, just depending on the size of the area that I'm trying to fill in. Try to use the largest brush you can to deal with the area that you're painting at the time. And here, just fill in and put in more pressure down to get the brush to spread more and to fill that area in better. And we'll have to, I'm just going to turn the brush away from the chisel edge to get a point on this brush now. Just go on a delicate little bit there. So these 2112 brushes are traditional types of signwriting brushes, and it matters that you have the right brush, because you're not going to be able to manipulate a synthetic brush in the same way as you can a traditional pure sable brush. They're not magic, they're not going to turn you into a signwriter overnight, but they are going to help. Of course, if you've never used enamel paints before, it's a completely different feel to other paints, and getting the consistency of the paint right is key. So the easiest way to explain what a consistency should be is a little bit thicker than milk. So what you're trying to achieve with that is so that it doesn't drag too much, but then it doesn't run and drip. So you do want that small amount of drag, just so helps you control the brush. So practicing this sort of thing is very relevant to signwriting. It's helping you get to a point where you know how much pressure in small areas to put on. You know how much pressure to put on when you've got a big long line to pull. We learn through repetition. So painting as much as you possibly can and getting a brush in your hand every day if possible is going to make it a lot easier for you. So as I said a moment ago about positioning your mouse stick, now I'm working in this area, I don't want my mouse stick to be going into that area. So I've set my mouse stick up basically so that I know that if I'm here and I'm painting this area here with my mouse stick, I'm not going to be touching there. I haven't got my mouse stick in a short space like that. I've got it in an area, so I know I'm not going to be touching the crucial area. It does become something that you don't really think about that much. It's like anything, the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. So for me to talk to you about it, I have to now think about it. If I was just here painting this without showing you, then I wouldn't think, I'd just do it. And then I'd get to the end of it and think, right, okay, I finished that now. But while I'm trying to explain, I have to think about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it so I can tell you. If you're enjoying watching these videos, then hit the subscribe button. I'm now doing videos every single week. So as an apprentice, what would generally happen to get you going with brush control is you would do second coating. So that would help you follow letter shapes and get them into your memory a lot easier. But also what they'd let you do once you were able to, which is comes much sooner than actually first coating actual letters. There would be certain jobs would have pictorials and caricatures on them. So you'd get to paint those, which when people are watching, like doing things like this, people like watching you paint pictures. And they like seeing like cartoon characters, caricatures, things like that. And the people get quite impressed by those. When you have to mark out some block lettering, some Helvetica or Gill Sans or something like that, that's much more difficult. There's no room for error. Whereas painting something like this, if I make some small mistakes, nobody's going to ever see them. But our first priority is getting you to feel the brush and the enamel. So we're using a lot of the same brush movements we would use when doing lettering, but we're also learning how to control that roll through the fingers. We're doing that a lot more on something like this than we would do on lettering. So we're learning quite quickly how that feels. So as we've seen before, we don't want to be holding the brush on the metal part, on the ferrule. We want to be just above the ferrule, so we can roll that brush through our fingers. Let me know in the comments if you've ever done this before, if you're a seasoned professional signwriter, or you're just somebody who's curious and just like watching, or if you're somebody who's thought, I'd like to give this a go. Just let me know where you're up to. You might even be somebody who used to do this for a living and hadn't picked up a brush in years. Hopefully, you're watching this, you'll be encouraged to get them brushes out and have another go. Also, just let me know where you're watching. Whereabouts in the world are you? I'm in Lancashire in the UK. I've lived in Lancashire a very long time now. I'm originally from Yorkshire, which is where I learnt this trade. I was an apprentice in Hull in East Yorkshire. So a lot of the work there was on the docks in Hull. And we used to paint support vessels for the oil rigs in the North Sea. They'd come into the docks and have a refab, and we'd have to either go up in a crane or sometimes even on a bosun's chair over the side of the ship. I don't think they'd allow that these days, health and safety. Mind you, even if they did, I don't think I'd do it now. Okay, we're nearly there with this one now. Just a few more little details to pop in. Let me know if there's someone you'd like to see me paint. I've done a few now. I've got lots more ideas of other people and subjects to paint, as well as doing traditional signs. I've got one coming up next that is a sign that I promised my wife I'd paint her 25 years ago. So I got a bit busy, so we'll get that one done next. But let me know if you've got any favourites, any favourite artists or actors and actresses from past or present. Let me know what you'd like to see me do. There we go. That's Jimi Hendrix. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.